Hey guys, welcome back to Yoga with Leona, your site for everything about yoga and breast cancer recovery. BKS Iyengar said, "Yoga is a light which once lit will never dim. The better you practice, the brighter the flame." And this sort of gets at this idea of tapas. So if you've watched my video on the 8 limbs of yoga, you've seen that one of the niyamas is tapas, or sometimes described as self-discipline or inner fire, sort of that energy inside of us that drives us to do things that we know are good for us and the things that we know are going to help us along our path of growth and transformation and help to get us where we're hoping to take our lives. So with that idea, with the idea of tapas and inner fire in mind, today's video is a tutorial on core strengthening exercises. So if you've watched a few of my videos, you know that I'm talking all the time about engaging your core in this or that position, and that's because core strength is such a huge part of yoga. And you'll notice that if you start strengthening your core muscles, that many of the yoga postures will get easier for you. You'll feel stronger, you'll feel more balanced. And so we really just need to put in some work and do our core strengthening. So often I incorporate several of these exercises into a regular asana practice, but I thought I'd go ahead and make this video just to kind of focus on the core strengthening exercises. I don't expect you to do all of these core strengthening exercises every day or anything, but I'm just hoping that this video will teach you the different exercises so that you can pick and choose and maybe do 1 or 2 of them almost every day, and then you'll get a good strong core. So before we start, what is the core really? So a lot of people think about just your abdominal muscles on the front of your abdomen, but the whole core is a lot more than that. So it is, of course, a series of different sort of interlacing muscles on the front side of our abdomen, but also importantly muscles on the sides of our abdomen, so these oblique muscles, and then also the muscles in your low and mid back are super important to core strength. So the core strengthening exercises I'm going to teach you are going to, different ones will focus on different areas of the core. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So first thing you might do is go ahead and bring your blanket under your knees. If you like to use that to pad your knees a little bit, go ahead and bring your blanket here. We're going to start with just a little spine warm up. So we've probably done this in some of the asana videos. Let's start with a little cat-cow. So on an inhale, your belly sinks down, your back arches, your head comes up. This is a cow position. And then on an exhale, you push your spine up, pull your belly button up to your spine, push into your shoulders. This is a mad cat. Inhale, belly down, head up. Exhale, push your spine up and get to start to feel that sensation of pulling the belly button toward your spine. Inhale, belly down, head up. Exhale, push your spine up to the sky, belly pulls up and in. Inhale, belly down, shoulder blades can kiss on your back. Exhale, as you push your spine up, you push into the floor, shoulder blades protract. Inhale, belly down, and exhale, push it up. All right, now bring your spine back to a neutral position. This is called tabletop. And from tabletop, let's stretch our right leg long behind us. Now, in this position, you can see you could dump down into your belly, let the belly droop down, but here again, we're gonna pull that belly up and in. So you might take one finger and touch just below your belly button and imagine pulling that core up and in. And then as you're doing that, you're pushing into the shoulders nice and strong. So you're not dumping down here loosey-goosey. We're here, strong belly, strong shoulders. Now, if this is easy for you, then you can lift the left arm up. Again, pull your core up and in. And then we're going to take some crunches. So bring the elbow and knee to meet and extend again. Exhale, in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, and inhale. Now, if that's too hard with the arm, you can do it just the leg. Pulling the knee in and extend. Exhale, in. Inhale, extend. A couple more like that. release that side. Perfect. Shake your hips out a little bit if that feels good. And let's take the other side. So left leg goes back. Again, notice your core. Pull that belly up and in. No belly's hanging down. Core pulls up and in. You push into your shoulders. If that's easy, right hand can extend. If not, keep the hand at the floor and then crunch it in and extend. Crunch it in, pull your belly in. Extend. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of those. Now rest both knees down and sink your hips back. Stretch the hands forward for child's pose. So we're stretching out our low back here. I like to shift my hips side to side, sort of relaxing and releasing that low back. All right, good. And then let's come on back up to a seat. So of course, as with everything, you might need to start a little bit slow. So if you're new to core strengthening exercises, you might only do 3 or 4 of those on each side. Okay, you don't have to start out with 8 right away. And again, remember, always listening to your body. Don't overdo it and hurt yourself. All right? All right, let's come to the next one. So the next core strengthening exercise is a yoga position called Navasana or boat pose. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the full expression first, and then I'm going to show you how to work into it if you're new to this pose. So Navasana is a core strengthening exercise in which eventually you lift up both the legs and the arms. So at first the knees can be bent, but eventually you're working towards legs extended, arms extended. Now, if you're new to yoga, you might think, yeah, right, no way I'm doing that. So let me show you a couple ways to work into it. So the first option is to separate the legs and the arms. So you can have your hands at the floor, reach them a little way behind you, and we're going to do just the legs first. So importantly, we don't want to sink down into our low back here. We want chest stretched up, arms extended. So imagine someone's got a ribbon and they're pulling your chest up to the sky. And then you can take one leg at a time first. So lift up your right leg, knee stays bent, foot's parallel to the floor. Take a few breaths here. And then switch the legs. Left leg up. Still keeping that chest nice and high, and you can feel your low abdomen engaging a little bit to lift those feet up. All right, now if that's okay, then you can try lifting both legs up a little bit. And the toes can come just barely off the floor, or you can bring them up parallel to the floor. Remember, chest stays high, so we're not sinking down into our low back. And then rest a moment. All right, good. So that's the first half. Now, if you're new to the pose and you're working on it just part at a time, then the second half is going to be doing just the arms. So we're going to keep our feet on the floor. So feet can be flat, or you can point your toes and have just your toes at the floor. And then you can do just the arms. So the important thing here is not to roll way, way back. So you want to be rolled up onto your tailbone, or actually onto your sits bones, not so much rolled back onto the tailbone at first. So feel spine straight, chest stretching up, arms are here forward. Now, as you get a little bit stronger, it actually is harder if you lean back a little bit. So if you roll your upper body back a little bit, that engages the core even more. So this is a great exercise as you're starting to work toward lifting up both the arms and the legs at once. You can roll back a little bit further, engage the core even more. Good, and then lift it up and rest. Take a couple of deep breaths here. So I think of core strengthening when I think of tapas because it's hard. Core strengthening is really hard. It really engages a lot of muscles, and it can get you, I can imagine you're probably sweating already. I know I am. So some people don't like it because it really takes a lot of effort, but man, the benefits will pay off. As I said, once you get your core really nice and strong, it'll make your yoga practice so much easier and lighter. All of the postures will seem better to you. So just put in a little bit of time each day and you'll get there. All right, now let's try putting it all together. So if you've done just the feet and just the arms and you're feeling like you're strong enough to give a try to both together, let's try Navasana with both arms and legs. So the first way to do it is to reach your hands underneath your knees. Again, feel a nice tall spine, chest stretching up, and then you're gonna roll back onto your sits bones just slightly so that you can lift up those feet. Now you can keep the hands here behind the knees at first and give yourself a little bit of support. But if that's feeling okay and you're feeling strong enough, you can extend the hands out front. So just staying here, breathing comfortably. I usually take 5 breaths. And if that's okay, then you're going to extend your body all the way to the floor and then come back up. 5 more breaths. And again, if this is easy, you can extend all the way up. Take it down and take it back up. Good. Stop and rest for a moment. Shake that out a little bit. All right, so you may have noticed when we're in Navasana and I take it down to the floor, I'm not flopping onto the floor like this. So you're going to get a lot more core strength if you go with control and you extend the feet, low back touches the floor, but shoulders stay high, and then you come back up. All right, so we're extending down with control, not flopping all the way onto the floor, and then coming back up. All right, good. And yeah, that'll get that inner fire burning, right? So feel that inner fire, that inner strength starting to churn. You're getting stronger already. All right, let's take one more set of Navasana, and I'm going to show you a little add-on that you can do once you start getting comfortable with it. All right, so same thing, feet in front of you, chest stretches high, roll slightly back and lift those feet up, arms in front. Now, if you're ready to add something to your Navasana, you can inhale, arms to the sky, and exhale, twist your body to the right. So this is engaging more of those oblique muscles, those core muscles on the side of your abdomen. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, twist the other direction. Good. Inhale up. Take it all the way down to the floor. And exhale, come up. And rest. All right, nice work, guys. So that's Navasana, or boat pose. You'll see me incorporating that one into our asana practices a fair bit. All right, let's come onto our hands and knees again. Shake your wrists out a little bit if maybe you need that. All right, so let's bring our blanket back to the mat. You're gonna have that there in case you need it for your knees. So let me show you an option with some blocks before we get into learning plank pose. So for some of us, as we're starting to do plank pose, instead of having the wrists flat on the floor like this, if this is a little bit hard on your wrists or puts a lot of pressure on your wrists, you can bring blocks under your hands, bring the hands to the front of the block, and this just opens up the pressure on the wrists a little bit. So you can take all of these exercises either with or without blocks, okay? So the next core strengthening exercise that I want to teach you is plank pose. And you see a lot of people doing these plank tutorials, and you do increasing amounts of time in plank, and that's because it's really an amazing core strengthener. So it not only strengthens the front of your core, the sides of your core, and the back side of your core. So it's great for your whole torso. Also gives some strength to your shoulders and chest as well. All right, so let me show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you again kind of the steps to get into it if you're new to it. So eventually, plank pose looks like this. Shoulders are going to be just above your wrists, and then you tuck the toes under and straighten your legs. Now again, we don't want to be dumping down, so you can see how that dumped my core and I dumped into my shoulders. So this is what we don't want to do. What we want to do is push into the shoulders and pull the belly up and in. So you might even look like you're slightly curved upward. So it's called plank pose because your body looks like a plank of wood, but it might even look like an upside down canoe as you see your kind of belly and your chest hollowing up and in. All right, so just plain old plank like that, holding it for 30 seconds, maybe even up to a minute, is an awesome core strengthener and shoulder strengthener. But it takes a lot of strength. So the first thing you can do is start to do it with your knees on the floor. So for this, I kind of like to use the blocks because it gives you a little bit more space. So for this one, you're going to start with your knees on the floor like you're in a tabletop, but you're going to stretch the hands a little bit in front of your shoulders. Because in order to get into a modified plank, you're going to have to shift the shoulders forward, and then the shoulders come above the wrists, and then you're going to pull your belly up and in. So again, no dumping down, no resting into the shoulders. We're in a plank here. So belly is up and in, super strong. So hold that for a few breaths. And then sink your hips back and rest. Again, child's pose here. Stretch that low back. Good, and then take it again. And I usually like to take 3 sets of this when I'm doing it. Shoulders shift above the wrist, belly pulls up and in. Push into your shoulders. Feel that core nice and strong. Good, and sink the hips back again. Rest in child's pose. Good, and if that's easy for you, again, you can come back and do a full plank. So hands flat to the floor. This time shoulders are just above the wrists. Tuck your toes under and push those legs straight. So again, notice nice strong body, not dumping down into the hips. Pull your belly up and in. Hollow out the front side of your body like a canoe. Pushing into your shoulders. Shoulder blades are spread across the back. The gaze is either right down in between your hands or gently in front of you. All right, knees down and rest. All right, so when I'm doing core strengthening poses, I like to intersperse a little bit of back bending here and there, because if we're doing so much strengthening of the front side of our abdomen, you need to stretch those abdominal muscles out a little bit too. So I'm going to stand up on my knees here and just take a gentle camel. So you may have seen camel pose in some of our asana videos. Camel pose is a nice introductory back bend. You place your hands on your rear end like they're in your jeans pockets. Knees are just under your hips, and you just gently push those hips forward and let your head fall gently back. Making sure you're breathing here. So we're just gently stretching the front side of our body here instead of all that strengthening that contracts the front side of our body. And then inhale, come up. So especially for my girls who've had a deep flap reconstruction where the surgeon takes some fat and tissue from the low abdomen and reconstructs the breast from that, this can cause a lot of contraction in the lower abdomen, in the area where that scarring is. And so for you girls, we especially need to stretch that abdomen to help stop having that sort of forward contraction. So we often talk about contraction or forward rolling of the chest after breast surgery, but then if you've had a deep flap, you might have additional sort of contraction of the low abdomen that really rolls your whole body forward. So really important to do that, that front body stretching. So let's take one more camel. So again, hands to your low back or to your jeans pockets. Push those hips forward, stretch your chest to the sky, and open the front side of your body. Now, if you've done camel before, you probably know you can eventually reach down and grab your heels if you want more stretch. You grab hold of your heels and stretch that front body open. And then come up and rest it down. All right, awesome. So let's do a little bit more work in plank. I'm going to show you a couple of add-ons that you can do to plank that can move the strengthening around the different parts of your abdomen and different parts of your shoulders. So 2 different things that we can do once you're getting strong in plank. We'll go ahead and bring our hands back to the floor, tuck those toes, come back to your nice strong plank. Now, strong through the shoulders, and then what we're going to do is dip the hips down as you roll your feet to the side. So see my feet roll to the side, hips dip down, and then each time you come back to the top, you pull that core up and in. So hips dip down, core pulls up and in. And we're kind of rolling side to side, and you're getting a lot more strengthening through the oblique muscles and through the low back with each time you take it side to side. Very nice. All right, knees to the floor and rest. So again, same thing with that one. You can start with just a few repetitions, and then as you get stronger and stronger, you increase the number. All right. All right, last thing in the plank position. Actually, not, maybe the second to the last thing in the plank position. Last one for right this minute. So we're gonna come back to a plank, feet back, core strong. Now, only want to start doing this once you're feeling really strong in your plank. But if you're starting to feel really strong in plank, then we step one elbow down at a time and then step the hands back up. Step it down and step it up. And then you want to go both sides. So then step the other hand down and step it up. Step it down and step it up. And you'll notice when you get down here into an elbow plank, it's difficult in a different way, but same idea. Pull your belly up and in, hollow out the front side of your belly. Core is so, so strong. And then step it back up. Knees down and rest. All right, nice job. Let's take one more camel, and then we're gonna get onto our backs and learn a couple of other different core exercises. So same thing, camel, hands into your jeans pockets, rest your body back, chest stretches to the sky, and breathe. All right, good, come on up. All right, let's move our blanket. And we're gonna come to lie on our back for what I call Halasana crunches. So I'll explain Halasana in just a second. Halasana is a yoga position called plow pose, and eventually these crunches sort of move us into plow pose. But let me show you how to get into it first. So the way this one works is there are a few options for how to do it. So the first way is to keep hands flat to the floor. Some people like to kind of edge them in underneath each side of your bum for a little bit of stability. And then the first way is to start with knees bent. So feet are flat to the floor, knees are bent, and you're gonna pull your knees up and push your pelvis up off the floor. Now the idea is to do this with some control, and the more slowly you go up and down, the more strength you're building. Some people at the very beginning, you need to use a little momentum to get that bum up off the floor. But the stronger you get, the easier it'll get. And you'll get to where eventually you can even do it with straight legs. So eventually legs can be straight, and you stretch all the way up to the sky, and then you roll slowly down, legs come down. Keep going. And again, the idea is slow, controlled movements. And again, you just start with a few repetitions, and the stronger you get, you can do more and more. Now, if that's getting easy and you've got some flexibility in your spine, then we can take it all the way up and into Halasana or plow pose. Now, if you're starting to do this, remember that anytime we put any pressure on our neck, we never want to turn our head to the side. So we're going to roll our legs up and above our head into Halasana or plow pose. And so you're going to get a little bit of pressure on your neck. So if you've got significant osteoporosis, you might not want to be working into Halasana or plow pose because of that pressure that it puts on your neck. But if your bones are okay and your core is feeling strong, then you can give a try to this one. So let me show you what it looks like. So again, arms can start down at your sides, and then we're going to lift our legs up, and as you roll up, then you're going to bring legs up behind you. So this is Halasana or plow pose. So traditionally when we do this in yoga practice, then we bring our hands to our low back,
and we're working into shoulder stand. But here, we're just using it as a transition point for core strengthening. So then you're gonna roll the hips slowly, slowly down. And remember, the slower you go, the better it works. All right, so inhale, roll it up, legs into halasana. Exhale, roll slowly, slowly down. Now, if that's easy, then you bring arms above your head and you do the same movement here. Toes touch your fingertips. Roll it slowly down. Inhale, bring the legs all the way up. And then roll slowly down. So you can see that this takes a little bit of hamstring flexibility to keep the legs straight. It doesn't really matter. If you need to bend the legs a little bit, that's no problem. You're still getting the core strengthening even if legs are bent. Just think slow, slow movement. So as little slingshotting as possible. You want to do it slowly and methodically for as much core engagement as possible. All right, nice work. So after you do some of those, then I like to take some windshield wipers and release my low back a little bit. Windshield wipers might be one of my favorite things in yoga. Feels so good to my low back. All right, awesome job. So let's take that final addition to plank that I was talking about earlier, and then we'll be done. So this last one, some people call it mountain climber. I think it has several different names. Basically using a plank position and then crunching one leg in and out at a time. So let me show you what it looks like. It's another one where you can start with, say, just 15 or 20 seconds and see how that goes, and then just extend the time as you get stronger and stronger. All right, so we're gonna come back to a plank position. So from downward facing dog, we come to a plank. Shoulders are above your wrists, belly pulls up and in. You're like a hollowed out canoe again. And then, with control, one knee crosses over toward the opposite elbow at a time. And then you just keep going like this. And again, you can set a timer and see how that goes. See if you can do it for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And remember to keep your plank nice and strong. So don't start dumping into your shoulders. This is bad for your shoulders. So got to push strong, keep the shoulders strong, belly pulls up and in. Mountain climber. Good. And when you're ready, sit down and rest. All right, guys. So that's been a handful of my favorite core strengthening exercises. Definitely worked up a bit of a sweat, got that inner fire churning. So give a try to a few of these, and then you'll see them, of course, built into the asana practices that you'll find in the other videos. But if you're really needing to work on your core, then you can take just a few of these at a time, sort of separate from your asana practice as well. As always, give me an email if you have questions or you're not sure what's going on or you're having trouble with any posture. I'd be happy to see what I can do to help you out. Keep going. I applaud your efforts at really putting in the work to help, empower yourself, give yourself the strength that it takes to get through this sometimes really difficult cancer experience. But the more work you put in, the easier it's going to be, the stronger you're going to feel, and it's just going to be this awesome positive cycle of improvement. So I commend you on all of that. Thank you for being here with me. See you on the next video. Namaste.